This week on Vallo Vision News.
Registration is coming up. Find out when you can register for classes.
And Ukraine is bracing for assault from the east.
Plus, later in the show, see the damage left at Flower Hill by the tornado. Vallo Vision News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Vallo Vision News. I'm Janisha Banks.
And I'm Jonathan Weed. Thanks so much for watching. It's time to register for the fall semester. Registration started Monday, April 11th at 7 a.m. for graduate students. Seniors are able to register this Wednesday, April 13th. Juniors are able to register starting Friday, April 15th. Registration for sophomores and freshmen start next week. Remember that you must meet with your advisor before you can register for fall classes. Russia's focus in the war has shifted to Ukraine, eastern Ukraine. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky is putting up a defiant front that he says his troops can fight back, but insists that they need help from the U.S.
Isabel Rosales is in Washington with what exactly Zelensky is asking for, plus the general known for his brutality now leading Russia's war.
Ukraine bracing for a major Russian assault in the east.
Russia is preparing another offensive.
In Mariupol, relentless shelling.
You understand that somebody is dying at that moment, but you're actually happy that it's not you.
Ukraine's president says tens of thousands of people have died in the city. The latest battle for the Donbas region is underway. Some Ukrainians evacuating west. There is a lot of bombing here, says Oksana. I'm afraid for the children. Russian troops withdrawing from the north, but building up in the east. The fighting there expected to be pivotal in this war.
Frankly speaking, I don't think we can differentiate between, stages of hell that Ukraine is now going through.
President Vladimir Zelensky insists his people are ready for this new wave of Russian attacks, but says they can't do it alone.
All depends on how fast we will be helped by the United States. To be honest, whether we will be able to survive depends on this.
And for that chance of survival, the Ukrainians are pleading for weapons, planes, tanks, and defense systems. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin appointing a general nicknamed the Butcher of Syria to lead troops, according to one U.S. and one European official. Alexander Dvornikov is the mastermind behind brutal tactics in past conflicts, leading to major civilian deaths. In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
Turning to our ongoing pandemic coverage, COVID cases are rising again in the U.S., but overall the numbers are just at their lowest since mid-July of last year. Households are able to order COVID-19 test kits for free. You can order them at covid.gov. Health experts say the COVID vaccine could become an annual shot as early as this fall. An update on the transportation mask mandate expected to be released later this week. The White House's COVID response coordinator says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is coming up with a scientific framework on the health issue. The federal transportation mask mandate for places like planes and trains is scheduled to expire on April 18th. In most places nationwide, facial coverings are no longer mandatory in public spaces. People who do not identify as male or female can now make it official on a form of identification. The State Department will now list X as a marker on U.S. passports. This designation is defined as unspecified or another gender identity. This makes the Department of State the first government agency to make the offer on a document. Officials say they did research with a diverse group, including those in the LGBTI+ community. More information is available at travel.state.gov/gender.
It was a historic day at the White House. President Joe Biden celebrated on the front line the confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. Here's Reed Biden with the story.
Today is a good day, a day that history is going to remember.
A celebration of the historic confirmation of soon-to-be Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson on the White House South Lawn Friday.
It has taken 232 years and 115 prior appointments for a Black woman to be selected to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. But we've made it.
Meanwhile, in the nation's capital, a rash of COVID-19 cases among high-profile lawmakers and notable figures close to the president has journalists pressing the White House on his safety.
Just to be safe, have you considered maybe cutting down some of the big indoor events or scaling back any, changing sort of your tactic with some of these events?
Well, clearly we did the event, the historic event today outside. That was in part to ensure that we could have a huge number of people on the South Lawn celebrating.
The White House says if President Biden became infected with COVID-19, he could still carry out his presidential duties.
He has taken a range of precautions, as we all have, but he's also taken steps like getting the second booster, as he did last week in public. And his doctors are comfortable that he could continue to carry out his duties because of all these steps and precautions and protections he's taken.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Remember, there's always more news 24/7 on our social media pages. Just search for Vallo Vision News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more stories throughout the week.
Still ahead on Vallo Vision News, hear from the student who was affected by the storm.
Plus, are you prepared for life after college? See how Trio can help. We'll be right back.
Create your future as a social media manager, filmmaker, journalist, and so much more with a degree in communication studies and mass communication. Visit montevallo.edu/COFA for more information. You belong at Montevallo.
Welcome back to Vallo Vision News. Cleanup continues after a tornado hit campus during spring break. The March 31st tornado caused damage across campus, knocking down trees, destroying part of Vallo Hall, and damaging the roof of Brooke Hall. Luckily, only one student suffered minor injuries. We spoke with one resident in Brooke Hall whose room was damaged when part of the roof was torn off Brooke Hall.
Minutes after, I went upstairs to check, and the only damage that was happening was to like my closet. There was like water like rushing out of my closet, but it wasn't over the rest of the room, so the only really thing that got wet was my closet, my clothes, and a little in the bathroom too.
Remember that if you are on campus during severe weather, there are several storm shelters across campus, including the Center for the Arts and the 3D Art Building.
UM's art department will be lighting the Onagawa Kiln Tuesday. It's the first time the kiln has been lit since 2020. The lighting ceremony is April 12th at 1 p.m. in the woods across the tennis courts. After the kiln is lit, the firing process will take 5 days. Students and faculty will be at the kiln around the clock to keep the flames going.
Ever wanted to know how life would be like after you graduate college? For Financial Literacy Week, Trio Student Support Services hosted Game of Life. Students were able to go around different tables and learn about paying bills and the daily necessities for life after college. Some of the tables in the game included Uncle Sam, Falcon Realty, Falcon Utilities, Falcon Child Care and Education, and Falcon Insurance. Dr. Starworth had this to say about the purpose of the event.
A Game of Life event in which our students received a simulation and info card about their life after college. They learned about what their credit score would be, their household size, their salary amount, and then they were charged with going around and figuring out and balancing their monthly budget.
Other events were hosted throughout the week as well. Some of the other events hosted were Cash Cab, Banking Your Bread, and Financial Literacy Bingo. Remember that there's always more news 24/7 on our social media pages. Just search for Vallo Vision News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more stories throughout the week. That's all the time we have for today's show.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in to Vallo Vision News again next week for our final newscast of the semester.